So what does true happiness really look like for you? I mean, is it wealth, power, maybe love?
It's a huge question, isn't it?
It is. We chase so many things. But what if the path to genuine well-being is often, well, kind of counterintuitive, found in places we least expect?
Exactly.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. We're looking into an ancient collection of insights.
From the Udāna text, specifically a section called VAGGA II.
Right. And these aren't like dry philosophical treatises. They're short, vivid stories.
Often ending with these profound, inspired utterances from the Buddha himself.
Our mission today is basically to unpack these centuries-old
To
narratives.
see what wisdom we can pull out.
Yeah, extract the most surprising nuggets and discover what these insights can teach you about finding, maybe, lasting happiness and navigating suffering in our complex world.
It's all very relevant, even now.
Get ready for some possibly unexpected perspectives. Maybe some aha moments.
Let's hope so. We're looking at core human experiences, right? Freedom, pain, joy.
But through this ancient lens, it's fascinating. Okay, so let's dive in. We start with this remarkable scene, almost mythic feeling. The Buddha, early in his enlightenment,
Right after, yeah.
he's sitting in deep meditation by a river. And then, suddenly, this massive storm rolls in.
Not just a shower, either. A whole week, the text says. Cold winds, rain, hail.
Sounds absolutely miserable.
It does. But here's where it gets, well, unexpected. Mucalinda, the Naga king.
A Naga king, like a serpent deity.
Exactly, a powerful being. He comes out from his home nearby,
Okay.
and he coils his body 7 times around the Buddha, spreads his huge hood over his head,
Wow, protecting him.
shielding him completely from the storm for the whole week.
Incredible. So after the storm passes and the Naga king leaves, what happens?
The Buddha utters an inspired verse, and Udāna,
And what does it say?
he says, "Blessed is the solitude of one who is content, who has understood the Dhamma, and who sees. Happy is not affliction in the world, restraint towards living beings. Happy is freedom from craving in the world, the overcoming of desires."
Freedom from craving.
And then this clincher. This indeed is the supreme happiness, the vanquishing of the conceit, I am.
Wow. So even after being protected like that, the focus isn't on the external help.
Exactly. That's what's so striking. The focus is entirely internal. It's about the bliss that comes from solitude, contentment, non-harming.
Independent of the danger or the comfort.
Right. The protection is just the background. The real story is his inner state. It suggests true security isn't about, building bigger walls or getting external protection.
That is profoundly counterintuitive. We usually look outside for fixes, don't we?
We do. Which leads nicely into the next story, actually, about a monk named Padilla.
Ah, yes, Padilla. He was often heard just exclaiming, happiness, happiness.
Yeah, whether he was in the forest, under a tree, in an empty hut, just pure joy, apparently.
So naturally, other monks hear this.
And they get suspicious. Understandably, maybe. Because Padilla, you see, he used to be a king.
A king. Okay, so they figure he's missing the good old days.
Right. They think he's regretting giving it all up, longing for his royal pleasures.
But that's not it, is it? This is where it gets really interesting.
Not at all. The Buddha asks him directly, Padilla, why the exclamations?
And Padilla explains what?
He says that as a king, even with guards everywhere, inside the palace, outside, in the city, across the whole country.
Total security, supposedly?
Supposedly. But he says he was always fearful, agitated, anxious, terrified.
Wow, constantly on edge.
Constantly. But now, as a monk out in solitude, he says he's fearless, unagitated, unanxious, untroubled.
Carefree.
Completely carefree, living like a wild deer, he says. His worries just gone.
What a contrast. From a guarded king to a free deer.
It's powerful, isn't it? It really underscores that true security, true happiness, it's not about external defenses or power.
It's an inner state.
It's an inner state of mind. And the Buddha's Udāna for this story says, "He in whom there are no angers from within, who has overcome becoming and non-becoming."
Becoming and non-becoming, like existence and non-existence.
Sort of, yeah.
Right.
Transcending those cycles of attachment and aversion that rule our lives. Him, the fearless, happy, sorrowless one, even the gods cannot trace.
Cannot trace, like, he's beyond comprehension.
Beyond the usual frameworks, yeah. It's about building that inner fortress, not relying on outer walls.
So the king felt more trapped by his security than the monk did out in the open. Okay, so what else do we chase that might be? Well, an illusion. We've talked about inner freedom, but what about the things we actively pursue? Wealth, status, Even heavenly bliss, are they real happiness?
Or just another kind of trap. That's exactly what the next story tackles. You have a group of monks.
Yeah.
They're in a common hall just chatting. And what are they discussing? Something super relatable.
What's that?
Which of two kings, King Bimbisara or King Pasenadi, is richer? Who has more stuff, basically? More treasure, bigger kingdom, more chariots, bigger army, more power.
The classic comparison game. Who's got more?
Exactly. Very human. But the Buddha overhears them.
Yeah, he's not impressed.
Not really. He tells them it's not really fitting talk for monks, for people who've left the household life out of faith.
So what should they talk about?
He advises them, when you gather, either discuss the Dhamma, the teachings, or practice noble silence.
And the inspired utterance, the Udāna from this.
It's pretty stark, he says. Compared to the bliss of the cessation of craving, neither worldly pleasure nor heavenly bliss is worth a 16th part.
Not even a 16th, wow. So worldly or heavenly pleasures pale in comparison.
Completely. Which makes you ask, right, what is this cessation of craving and why is it considered so much better than, well, everything else we typically strive for?
It challenges our whole value system, doesn't it? What we think is good or pleasurable.
Fundamentally, it suggests maybe chasing more stuff or even more refined pleasures is missing the point entirely.
Maybe it's a distraction from a deeper kind of happiness.
That seems to be the implication.
Right.
Which ties into the burden of just belonging or having things. There's a story about a lay follower in Upasaka.
Right.
He finally gets to visit the Buddha after being away for ages. And his excuse, he was tied up with certain affairs.
Vague. Just busy.
Right. Just busy with life, possessions, responsibilities. And the Buddha's Udāna from this.
What does he say?
Happy is he who has nothing, one who knows the Dhamma and is learned. See how those with possessions are afflicted, people bound to people.
Oof. Happy is he who has nothing. That's intense. And people bound to people.
Yeah, our attachments, our connections, our responsibilities, they bind us. They cause affliction.
And then there's that other story, even more visceral, about the wanderer.
Oh, yeah. That one's memorable. His pregnant wife needs oil for childbirth, urgently.
Okay, a real need.
A real need. He goes to King Pasenadi's storehouse. The rule there is strange. You can drink as much oil as you want.
Drink it.
Drink it. But you can't take any out.
Weird rule. So what does he do?
He thinks, okay, I'll drink a ton of it, then go home and, well, vomit it up for his wife.
Oh, gosh.
Desperate time.
Very. But it backfires terribly. He drinks this huge amount of oil, gets home, and he can neither keep it down nor vomit it up. He's just suffering intensely.
That sounds awful, just stuck.
Exactly. Stuck with his possession that he can't use or get rid of. And the Udāna here is almost identical to the last one.
Let me guess. Happy are those who have nothing.
Pretty much. Happy indeed are those who have nothing. Truly, people without possessions are those who are skilled.
Skilled. Skilled at what?
Skilled at navigating life without being burdened, perhaps. It continues. See how those with possessions are afflicted, people with minds bound to people. Or bound to things, in this case.
Okay, so let's unpack this recurring theme. Possessions, affairs, things that tie us down, they're sources of affliction. That's the clear message. It's not just the physical stuff. It's the mental state of being bound. Our connections, our duties, even our desires for things. They seem positive, but they can absolutely bind us to suffering.
Like the poor guy with the oil? It's not just what you own, but how it owns you, maybe.
Precisely. Freedom isn't found in having more, according to these texts. It's often found in needing less.
Right, so we've talked about finding inner happiness and seeing through false happiness. But life isn't always blissful, right? Pain, suffering, it happens.
It's unavoidable, absolutely.
So how do these ancient texts suggest we navigate that? The suffering that's just part of being human?
Well, a really fundamental teaching comes from a simple observation the Buddha made one morning.
What did he see?
He saw some young boys
between
Savayapi and Jetavana. They were hitting a snake with a stick.
Oh, kids being cruel. Sadly common.
Right, and his observation led to this Udāna. Whoever harms living beings, desiring his own happiness, does not obtain happiness hereafter.
Okay, Karma 101, basically. Don't harm others if you want happiness.
But then the flip side. Whoever does not harm living beings, desiring his own happiness, obtains happiness hereafter.
So compassion isn't just ethical, it's practical. For your own well-being.
Exactly. It connects your happiness directly to how you treat others. Non-harming is presented as a direct path to your own future happiness. It's foundational.
That feels core, yeah. Okay, but what about when negativity is directed at us? How do we handle that?
Good question. The texts address this too. See, the Buddha and his monks, they were generally highly respected. People gave them offerings, showed them honor.
Right.
But other groups, other ascetics, they weren't getting that same level of respect. And they got resentful, jealous.
Oh, okay. So what did they do?
They started verbally abusing the monks, reviling them, insulting them, both in villages and out in the forests, trying to provoke them.
Nasty stuff. How did the Buddha advise handling that?
His Udāna in response is really profound, he said. Having been touched by happiness and suffering in the village or the wilderness, one should not burn oneself or others.
Don't burn yourself or others, meaning don't retaliate or get consumed by it.
I think so. And then he explains why. Contact touches based on attachment. How can contact touch one who is unattached?
Oh, so the insults, the praise, it only touches you if you're attached to something.
That's the idea. Attached to your reputation, maybe. Or your comfort. Your need to be liked. If you're unattached.
Passes by, it doesn't land.
It doesn't land. It raises that crucial question for all of us, doesn't it? How do we stay unperturbed by praise or blame? The teaching suggests it's about seeing how our reactions are rooted in these attachments. Let go of the attachment, and the external stuff loses its power over your inner state.
That's a huge challenge. Easier said than done, I imagine.
Absolutely. And then there's the pain of loss, which is maybe the hardest attachment to deal with. There's a story about grief.
Yes, tell me.
A lay follower's beloved only son dies. Just heartbreaking. And a group of these followers come to the Buddha. The text describes them as wet with clothes and wet with hair.
From weeping, presumably. Or rituals. Such a powerful image of raw sorrow.
It really is, and the Buddha acknowledges their immense sorrow. His Udāna on this occasion is quite direct.
What does it say?
Beings, both gods and ordinary humans, who are entangled by what is dear and pleasant, are overcome with sorrow and fall into the sway of the king of death.
Entangled by what's dear. So our love itself entangles us.
It can, yes. But then he offers the way out. But those who, day and night, diligently abandon what is dear, they indeed cut off the root of sorrow, the bait of death, which is hard to overcome.
Abandon what is dear, that sounds harsh. Does it mean stop loving?
I don't think it means stop loving. It's more about abandoning the attachment, the clinging, the idea that this thing or person is permanent and essential for our happiness. Understanding impermanence.
Okay, so it's about loosening the grip.
Yeah.
Loving, but knowing things change in our loss, so you're not completely shattered by it.
Exactly. It's a wisdom that allows for love and connection, but without the kind of clinging that leads to overwhelming, debilitating sorrow when loss inevitably happens. It's about cutting the root of that specific kind of suffering tied to attachment.
That makes more sense. Still incredibly difficult, though.
No question. Now for another kind of intense suffering. Physical pain. Imagine this. A woman named Supavasa. She'd been pregnant for 7 years.
7 years? Is that even possible?
Well, it's what the text says. Maybe symbolic, maybe literal for some condition, but the point is extreme duration. And then she's in difficult labor for 7 days.
Oh my goodness. Unimaginable pain.
Intense, prolonged suffering. Yet the text says, even in the midst of this agony, she was contemplating the Buddha, the Sangha, the community, and Nibbana, liberation.
Wow. Her mind found refuge even then.
It seems so. Her husband goes to the Buddha, explains the situation. The Buddha offers a blessing for her well-being, and immediately she gives birth to a healthy son.
A miraculous turnaround. But what about the son? There's a detail about him later.
Yes. Later, a senior monk asks the boy, "Are you well, little one?" And the boy replies, "Get this. How can I be well? I have lived for 7 years in a pot of blood."
Whoa. What a visceral memory of the womb, framed as suffering.
It really emphasizes the ordeal, doesn't it, from the child's perspective, too. Now, the Buddha's Udāna for this event is fascinating.
That is it.
What is unpleasant appears pleasant. What is unpleasant appears dear. Suffering appears as happiness, overcoming the heedless.
How does that relate? Suffering appearing as happiness.
It could point to a couple of things. Maybe how we often chase things that seem pleasant but ultimately bring suffering. Or perhaps how through perspective and mindfulness, even intense suffering like Supavasa's can be met with a certain mental framing, finding refuge rather than being totally overcome. Her focus on the Dhamma transformed her experience, perhaps. It also highlights how our perceptions trick us.
The power of the mind to reframe even extreme pain. Okay, one last story on navigating difficulties.
Yes, about dependence. VAGGA, a prominent laywoman, a big supporter of the community.
I've heard of her.
She had some issue, some legal matter maybe, pending with King Pasenadi. But the king just wasn't dealing with it, wasn't giving her the resolution she wanted or felt she deserved.
Bureaucracy and frustration. Very relatable.
Exactly. She goes to the Buddha, clearly upset and frustrated by being stuck, dependent on the king's decision.
That feeling of powerlessness when you need something from someone else.
Precisely. It highlights that discomfort, that suffering that arises from being dependent on others for outcomes. And the Buddha's Udāna.
What does it say? It feels like it's going to be quite direct.
It is. All dependence on others is suffering. All independence is happiness. They are afflicted in common, for ties are hard to overcome.
All dependence is suffering. All independence is happiness. Wow.
It really connects to so much, doesn't it? Personal relationships feeling like your happiness depends on someone's approval or actions. Work situations stressing because your well-being feels entirely in your boss's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. How much stress comes from feeling like our peace is controlled by someone else?
A huge amount. The wisdom here seems to point towards cultivating an inner state where your fundamental well-being isn't contingent on those external actions or approvals. Finding freedom within.
So we've journeyed through these 10 powerful stories from the Udāna texts, VAGGA II.
Revealing these ancient insights on happiness and suffering.
Yeah, from that surprising bliss of inner freedom, like Mucalinda's protection, highlighting inner peace.
Hippadia finding more joy as a monk than a king.
Right. And then the burdens of attachment, the illusions of wealth.
The pain of loss, the frustration of dependence.
These narratives really offer a unique and sometimes challenging perspective.
They really do. They consistently point us inward, don't they? Towards an inner source of peace, security.
Suggesting that lasting happiness isn't always about what we get, but maybe more about what we can let go of.
Exactly. Letting go of craving, letting go of attachment, letting go of dependence. It challenges us to look past the surface pleasures.
And confront the actual roots of our discontent, our affliction.
Urging that shift from relying on the external to cultivating the internal.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a provocative thought, something to maybe mull over.
Building on that last Udāna.
If all dependence on others is suffering, all independence is happiness.
Think about this. What is one area in your life, just one, where you could cultivate more true independence?
And not just, physical independence.
Right, but mentally and emotionally. Where could you rely less on external validation or outcomes for your sense of inner peace?
Something to think about.